Hi and welcome to a new video. In this video I'm doing some speed tests with the new ASUS ZenWifi Pro ET12 mesh Wi-Fi system. So it's a bit of a mouthful, but so basically this is the latest Wi-Fi 6E with 6 GHz frequency, and you can see in my previous videos when I've gone through the unboxing specifications of these two routers, and they are very impressive. And you'll see the speeds here are really quite good as well. So here you can see on the screen where you can go into settings and enable the Ethernet backhaul mode. So this is where you'll basically use the Ethernet ports, either the 1 gigabit per second or the 2.5, and of course it's advised to use the 2.5 to connect the two routers together. The other test I've done further on is using the 6 gigahertz frequency to connect them both, just to give you a real world example, and also just to let you know I do have many devices, 30 plus, still connected to the Wi-Fi devices to give you the most realistic speed test in like a real world situation. So I didn't want to just connect one device and you know, it's a bit unrealistic with just having one device connected. Of course you're going to get optimal speed. So as you can see here again, once it's toggled on, then you plug the Ethernet cable into back of both of them, then you are going to get the optimum speeds and everything else that you can achieve. So these speed tests are over 5, 26 and 48 feet. The 5 feet is in the same room, and 26 does have one wall between them, and 48 has two walls, as well as it's on the very back of the house on the second floor, just to give you the extreme example of where you'd perhaps be furthest away from them. And of course I've got the two routers. They're split on the first floor towards the front of the house, and then the other one is towards the back of the house as well. So in this one we test, as we said, we're using the Ethernet backhaul. So these speed tests here, as I've broken them down just to give you an example. The next set of speed tests that will be coming up later on, we'll be using the Wi-Fi 6E to connect them both, and that's the 6 gigahertz band. Currently these tests that you're seeing on the screen, I'm using speedtest.net, Wi-Fi Man, and OpenSpeedTest as well. So the OpenSpeedTest actually gives you a theoretical the highest speed you're going to achieve, because it's actually on my network storage device that it's actually running. So that means it'll give you, it's not connecting out to the internet, it's just an internal network speed. So that will give you the highest speed possible if you are using Wi-Fi to connect to things. But as you can see, this is the Ethernet backhaul via 6 gigahertz. So now you can see that the actual speeds and everything else that they're going to achieve using the Wi-Fi connecting to them, not the Ethernet connection. So of course Ethernet, as we said, is optimal, and to use the 2.5 gigabit per second port, but not everyone has got Ethernet running through their house. So it is good to see this tests coming through, and as you can see, these speeds is more than enough for multiple 4K streaming on the download and upload, and the connection speeds using these two routers. I know they are in this you know, times are quite hard nowadays and everything else, but as you can see here, these are going to be very future proof for many devices, because this covers the Wi-Fi 6E, and also you've got two exactly the same routers. So other manufacturers, they normally do give you like the second one as a cut down version. Both of these routers are exactly the same. They've got the full CPU, quad core CPU, and the same RAM, and the same Ethernet ports in the back as well, so you can get optimal. So that's why it is more expensive, but again, if you do have the money, then of course this is probably one of the best investments that you can make to actually connect your devices. And we are seeing a few more Wi-Fi 6E devices coming through now. It's sad to still see that, you know, Apple still, even on their iPhone 14s, still haven't managed to get a Wi-Fi 6E, but they can connect to satellites. It seems a little bit odd, really, where they could actually increase the speed of the Wi-Fi for people. So yes, it seems a bit strange on how they do their features, but they always are a bit slower when it comes out of that new technology. But as you can see here, most of them here can easily stream 4K, and as I said, I've got multiple devices connected to the network at the same time. You can see on the screen now where you've got the Wi-Fi settings, and you can see where if you've got connected by the Ethernet, how the speed is and what the connection is as well. So you can see those all connected together. So this is good to see that, through this is the Ethernet backhaul connection. So of course, as we said, this is optimal speeds that you're going to receive. So once these ones have gone, so as you can see here now, I've done multiple distances, as I said, over the 5, 26 and 48 feet to give you the best idea of actual speeds that you could achieve. And I'm using 3 different systems as well to give you the best example. As you can see here, again, you're achieving speeds that is more than enough for the average person. And then, if multiple people are streaming in the family, and you've got devices, your doorbells now, there's IP cameras, you've got tablets, phones, light bulbs, everything seems to be Wi-Fi connected now. It's amazing on how many things you do have connected. And this does actually cover the entire house. Before, when on the GTAX 11000, when I did the testing, it was still more than capable, and it still is a more capable router. It's one of my favorites ever. But it did drop off towards the back of the house a little bit from the speed wise. But as you can see with these ones here, even at the 48 feet, it's more than achieving more quick enough speeds actually there. And I did try it in the garden as well, and that was more than quick enough to actually get these speeds here. So as you can see now, the next set of speed tests we're going to do is using the 6 gigahertz frequency. So as you can see here, now we're continuing using the 6 gigahertz new from Wi-Fi 6E backhaul. So this is the 2 routers are not connected by any cables anymore. They're actually connected together using the 6 gigahertz band. So you just need to remember one thing is one I did notice is that if you are using the 6 gigahertz band, of course the distance between the two does reduce down, but again, in my tests where I've used the same 5, 26 and 48 feet, I didn't have any problems at all with their speed, and they were always excellent. The connection between them was super quick anyway. Near borderline actually good as the Ethernet connection. So I think Wi-Fi is turning into actually a good replacement now for Ethernet in the speeds and connection and reliability. So as you can see here, again, as we said, this is using the 2.4 gigahertz band. So this gives you an idea of connecting your older legacy devices to the actual Wi-Fi. Again, I include 2.4 because many of our devices are still reliant on 2.4, even like my doorbell, and then the basically light bulbs, and lots of IoT devices like plugs and things like that are still 2.4 because it gives you the best range and they don't need the highest speed. So as you can see here, we're still getting very good speeds anyway on the 2.4 for what you can expect. And again, as I said here, this is using my tablet, and also I've got around 30 plus devices connected to the network to give you a realistic. So the other devices are uploading, downloading all at the same time as we're doing these speed tests to give you the best, most realistic speed tests, and not something that's theoretical with just one device connected. As we said, this is the 2.4 it's using. So once we've got here, and you can see the speed tests are more than enough for our normal legacy devices to download and upload. So now we're moving on to the Wi-Fi 6E backhaul using the 5 gigahertz. So we're still using the 6 gigahertz backhaul channel, but now we're connecting to the routers, to both the mesh routers using the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi 6 channel. So this will give you a good example, because this one is probably most of your newest devices will have. Most devices now support the 5 gigahertz frequency. So again, this is just using the two mesh routers that came with the ASUS setup. Again, you can see here there's more than enough speed that you're achieving. And again, as just to remind you that I have got 30 plus devices connected here, so to give you a realistic speed test. I know I've seen some other speed tests that seem to be a bit better, but of course I think you'll find that they just connect one device and I've got like 30 plus. So just to give you a more realistic idea of if you've got a family or you're quite into tech, because nowadays there's so many things connected to the routers and Wi-Fi. I want to give it most realistic as possible. I'm using the same apps as before, the speedtest.net, Wi-Fi Man, and then also OpenSpeedTest. As you can see here, the speeds again are fantastic. For your streaming and then for uploading and things like this. And some of these tests, if you're doing internal as well, you'll see later on, they are coming up to near enough now in Wi-Fi speeds to the same as Ethernet, and with reliability and everything else. Again, as you can see here, this speed test is the 26 feet, so this is one wall between, and that's a brick wall as well. So as we know, as you go up the higher the frequencies, the less distance you get. So this is why this mesh system has been developed, so you can actually get the full benefits of everything. And then yes, it's a little bit more expensive than most, but when you compare it to some of the say Netgear Orbi, is actually cheaper, what I've seen. And also looking at the features and everything else, I still prefer ASUS, their customer service, and then also the software they have in here, and just the overall updates that they continue to roll out many years afterwards. Just those good examples are GTAX 11000. There's still updates coming out, security patches, and also you can get third-party support using Merlin firmware, which gives extra functionality as well. So with all of these features and everything else added on, I know that's a time of that we're going through is that everything is more expensive and you've got less to spend. So but this, if you do have the money, is one of the best mesh systems out there, and will give you like some of the best speeds you can achieve, and also is future proof as well. I know I've seen currently some Wi-Fi 7 tests coming out as well, but again, we are still only got, to be honest, there's only a handful still of Wi-Fi 6E on the 6 gigahertz frequency. So I wouldn't really wait for Wi-Fi 7, because even though it's a long way out, then devices won't even be supporting that for many years. And as you can see, even the latest iPhone 14 that's just been come out, it still doesn't have the Wi-Fi 6E built into it. So it's one of the, you'd think one of the features that they would actually build into it, but instead they can connect to satellites in space, but they can't give you Wi-Fi 6E. It seems a little bit odd, but anyway, that's Apple for you. So yeah, so as just give you an idea on these tests, through the different backhaul channels using Ethernet and the 6 gigahertz, and then connecting at different channels to give you an idea of what your device's speeds would get. Overall though, to be honest, it's amazing, this mesh system. I can't fault it. It's not frozen or crashed, or I've had no issues with it at all, and I've had it now for quite a long time, and it's been on 24/7, as I said, with all my devices connected to it all time, and I've been doing these speed tests and everything else. So yeah, so overall I'm really impressed with it. Like I said, it is not cheap, but then the latest tech never is cheap. So hopefully towards Christmas time, or they normally have special offers through Amazon or other third-party retailers, or even on ASUS's website, you might be able to get it a little bit cheaper. But if you do have the money, this is probably one of the best mesh systems that you can currently get, with specifications and everything else. And you can see the previous videos I've done running through the specification and unboxing and everything else. So just a reminder, if you like the videos and everything else and want to follow, just remember to subscribe and like the videos. It does help me. It gives me an idea of what videos you like. I can make more of or not make more of. And I'm also always happy to read the comments and everything else. So now, as you can see here, we've got the other Wi-Fi basically bands coming up for the test. So as I said, this is using the 5, and then we'll have the 6 coming up next. And using that, just to remind you that so we are connecting the 2 routers using the 6 gigahertz frequency. And now I'll be doing a speed test using a device connected to the 6. So of course that will somewhat slow it down because it's using the bandwidth already to connect the 2 routers together. So this is where you might see like a bit of an impact because you're using the 6 gigahertz frequency to actually connect the 2 routers together, and then you're connecting on the 6 gigahertz as well. But to be honest, when you can see these speed tests, there seems to be no issues at all. You're still getting super quick speeds. And if you do ever have any issues, you can always use the quality of service if you wanted to actually make things faster on your network. So for gaming, you can prioritize, or for video streaming for your Netflix, Amazon Prime, or whatever else you watch. So you can always work around it. And as we said, there's enough features built into the firmware. And as you said in the previous video on when I set this up, after the first time I've used the actual ASUS app, and it has in many years has come on. I didn't use it before because I didn't really particularly like it, but now the latest updates make it really fantastic and more secure as well. That I'm quite happy to see. And also it just makes the process of setting up your routers very easy indeed. And you've got all the options as well. If you go into advanced settings, they're all there as well for you to actually have a look. So now we're just moving on to the tablet here, as you can see. So now we can go on to the next part. So moving on to the longer distance tests. So this is the 26 feet and 1 wall, and then the next one will be 48 feet and 2 walls. So they are brick walls that they're going through, and the 48 is on the second floor towards the very back of the house, to give you the best example and real world test of the speeds. So as you can see here, it still is super quick. It's quite surprising because I thought that they would drop off as you're using the 6 gigahertz frequency for connecting the 2 routers together and to connecting your device to it. But as you can see here, it doesn't seem to drop, and I'm still using my 30 plus devices, uploading and downloading and constantly connecting to the 2 routers. I have had no issues with the mesh system at all. It's never dropped or anything else, like I said before. But one important thing is when we're going between the 2 routers, I've never noticed anything drop. So I've been testing it using YouTube and then Netflix and Disney, just to see, you know, if I'm going from the front of the house to the back. So of course you automatically swap over the 2 routers for the best connection. I was going to see if there's any drops or anything like that, and there was none at all. As you can see here, with the speed tests I was doing, most of the time I was trying to travel at the same time when doing them, to see if it did do a sudden drop in speed or anything like that, and it just was seamless, the connection between them. So they're obviously ASUS and their software has actually working really well. And again, as we said, that the speeds are fantastic on here. And one of the next speed tests we've got coming up is the theoretical one, and I'll go on in more detail in a minute. So as you can see on this speed test here, this is using the OpenSpeedTest. So this is actually installed as a Docker image or application on my network storage device. So this is going to give you the theoretical speeds that you can do on your internal network, but also if your internet is fast enough, what it could achieve. So as you can see here, we're getting some crazy speeds of 1500 download, and a peak of, I think it touched near 1300 megabits per second upload. So these speeds are actually quite crazy. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and as usual, have a great day.